Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to We Believe Digital Studios and the We Believe Digital News Break. Chris Young with you today in 93 degrees downtown Jackson, Mississippi. The forecast is to go to 96. But I think that's what it was yesterday, and we went to 99. So just stifling heat down there. It's such a privilege to be sitting here up in this studio, bringing you this show, and there's so many people have to be out there under this heat right now. And so I got a thankful heart coming to you today. And we have a really emerging media company going here with We Believe Digital. And if you have any questions, like to be part of it, maybe do your own show, do some advertising, some filming projects, anything at all along those lines, we'd be happy to hear from you. Just call us at 1-800-492-5186. So we'll kick off with the first segment on the global or special interest side of things. A lot going on over in France right now. Just yesterday, more than 400 people arrested across France as a wave of protests for a third night following the fatal shooting of a 17-year-old that was captured on video. There's talking about releasing tens of thousands of police across the country. This is the citizens in France are pushing back against police brutality, and the shooting by police of this boy, teenage boy or young man, however you choose to look at it. The president of France says that it's unforgivable. But Reuters news agency is saying that a majority of the victims of lethal police shootings during traffic stops since about 2017, the majority were black or Arab in France. And just try to wrap your head around this. You know, there's other reporting that says that politics in Europe over the last 5 to 10 years have been leaning more and more to the right, and it seemed like that the upsurge of police and acting out and shooting their weapons when the other people don't have weapons is just a thing. It's just a thing now. So. Yeah, just yesterday was 400. The day before that was 300 and some people being arrested, and even though the president says it's unforgivable for shooting that teenager, it looks like they're dispatching tens of thousands of police across the country to quell these protests that are sweeping the country. During a 3-week expedition, scientists on board something called the Schmidt Ocean Institute's Falkor, a research ship, saw hundreds of octopuses. Now, how about that? Hundreds of octopuses, and watched their babies hatch at a soccer field-sized Dorado outcrop. This is located about 1.7 miles deep, and the lower reaches of the near Venezuela and so-called Twilight Zone. It was one of 6 underwater mountains surveyed by the vessel's underwater robot, something called ROV Sebastian. And so they've only come across this one time previously, and so it's a cause of great interest, where these octopuses go to breed, and hundreds and hundreds of them, really deep, 1.7 miles down. Canada's officially marked its worst wildfire season on record, with, the smoke from the blazes, has come all into the United States, causing really horrible visibility. And now it's not just stopping here now. It's making its way, has made its way across the Atlantic Ocean, and is now reaching, earlier this week, reached Western Europe, the smoke from these Canadian wildfires. So they said something like 17,000 acres totally scorched. I know I have a relative up in Nova Scotia that knows someone that lost their home, a relatively new home or a home being built. So bad mojo going on with those fires and really affecting people all over the place. We switch down to the national news, and it's a little hard reporting some of this stuff, but this morning, the Supreme Court blocked the administration's student loan forgiveness plan, rejecting the program that aimed at delivering up to $20,000 of relief to millions of borrowers struggling with outstanding debt. A lot of people were expecting this out of this conservative court. The decision was 6-3, with Chief Justice John Roberts writing for the conservative supermajority. And this just follows yesterday, where the Supreme Court ended affirmative action in relation to college admissions. So seemed like there's kind of a big misnomer on race being used in college admissions. Some people choose to believe, out of ignorance or what have you, that being admitted to certain colleges, only race is weighted heavily, and like as if that's the only thing, but that's not a true statement at all. So, the only people where that would come into place is amongst the group of 100% of people that are already fully qualified for admission to the college. So it isn't like a freebie, a handout. But different colleges have different policies, and ending this affirmative action in college admissions is a really, really big deal. Say, like when we look at some of the, like Harvard was in there, UNC was in there being discussed yesterday at the Supreme Court. Harvard only takes 4.5% of their students are black. And I wish I'd have got the numbers for the Asian population, but Brown University is kind of the highest admissions on the, at those top tier schools, those top 10, 12 schools in the country, and Brown University in Providence takes 7% of their admissions are black students. So two setbacks, though, as many of our viewers might see this, was not enough, because today the Supreme Court ruled in favor of a Christian web designer in Colorado who refused to create websites to celebrate same-sex marriages out of his or her religious objections. And the court's decision represents a devastating blow to LGBTQ protections, which have in recent years been bolstered by landmark decisions in the nation's highest court, including one authored just 3 years ago by conservative Justice Gorsuch, in which the majority expanded protections for LGBTQ workers, and then there was that 2015 case legalizing same-sex marriage nationwide. So this is like a reverse, a turn on this, and is going to take away protections for the LGBTQ community. So 3 major decisions issued in the last 2 days, the last 2 to 3 days of the court session. They're finished today. Today's their last day, and then they'll go on recess for a month or two, or however that works. And tough stuff. Also in D.C., former President Barack Obama has a home in D.C., and they found a man on yesterday with numerous firearms and materials to make an explosive arrested near his home after claiming on an internet live stream that he had a detonator. And that's what law enforcement conveyed to CNN. So, just hatred, deranged people, camping out by the Obama home with stuff intended to do harm. Also, some new information on that, more hatred with that Tree of Life synagogue situation that happened October 27th in 2018. This white guy, Robert Bowers. Now this guy killed 11 people inside a synagogue in Pittsburgh, wounded 6 others, was found guilty on a total of 63 charges, but had to have an evaluation done, by a psychiatrist. And he told a psychiatrist that he had a list of multiple targets, that this Tree of Life synagogue just happened to be the easiest one at the time for him. So, wow. So much hatred. He wanted to get people over on his side, is what he was telling the psychiatrist. On one piece of good note on the news on the national front, gas prices down 27% from this time last year. So man, oh man, is that good news, because this last summer was just crazy on those gas pumps. So we'll cut out there and take our commercial break and try and get this computer resituated over here, and we'll be right back with you.
Looking for the hottest content in the city of Jackson and surrounding areas? Check out WeBelieveDigital.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We Believe Digital Podcast is here for all your podcasting needs.
The Mississippi Link is an African-American female-owned newspaper with a trusted voice that is highly respected throughout the city, state, and nation. Our motto, keepers of the knowledge for people who speak the truth, since 1993. Link significantly influences the thoughts, attitudes, and buying decisions of its readers. Call us at 601-368-8481 for your advertising needs. If you would like to receive a newspaper in the mail each week, our annual subscription is only $52 per year. That is only $1 per week for you to stay informed regarding many stories that you can only get in the Mississippi Link. Sign up today at themississippiLink.com and click on Home Delivery.
And welcome back to We Believe Digital Studios and the We Believe Digital News Break. Wednesday at noon and Fridays at noon. Here we are now, getting ready to head into this 4th of July weekend. But here in Mississippi today, another day that the Republican legislators, or that top tier, that top 3 in the state, not one of them have elected to hold a hearing on the TANF scandal that has rocked, the largest fraud, embezzlement in this state's history, minimum $77 million. They turned into a slush fund under Republican leadership, and the Republicans won't hold a hearing on it. Democrats have held 2 hearings so far. Sad stuff. Also, a report in Mississippi Today this morning that the Capitol Police, the state agency, will expand its jurisdiction in Jackson this weekend. Now, that's concurrent jurisdiction with JPD, despite the effort to block the move in the court. So it's connected to a different story because on Thursday, U.S. District Court Judge Henry Wingate issued a preliminary injunction blocking a controversial portion of Senate Bill 2343 from taking effect. And that was the one about being able to free speech and peacefully protest and so forth. And so Judge Wingate temporarily blocked that. A section in question would have required protesters to obtain permission from the chief of Capitol Police or the commissioner of the Mississippi Department of Public Safety prior to demonstrating in front of state-owned buildings on any sidewalks or streets adjacent. And Wingate had said the provision likely would have a chilling effect on free speech and criticized the law for being too, quote, constitutionally vague, unquote. So the judge blocked that portion of the law, but he did not block the part of SB 2343 that has the Capitol Police, which started with the 8.7 square mile area adjacent to the Capitol, and now Capitol Police has concurrent jurisdiction with Jackson Police Department for 119 square miles. Pretty amazing. So we'll see how that is gonna play out. There's also some news about that we'll have to bring to you next week, but there's some news about some new protocols being used by Capitol Police, and believe me, we're going to keep a close eye on that and find out what these people are doing. They've updated their procedures for when things start to go awry, and we'll have to get a close look at that. Procedures hadn't been updated, I want to say, since 2006 or 2009, something like that. There were 44, now we've reported to you on this before, but 44 Delta white farming operations fined a total of $350,000 for racist wage and hiring practices by the U.S. Department of Labor. In addition, they're required to pay over $500,000, $505,000 in back wages. You know, this is the story that broke close to a year ago, where these white farming operations in the Delta misused a visa program to bring white, unskilled workers from South Africa, pay their airfare, bring them up here, have black farm workers train them to do the job, and then these white employers lay off the black workers. To add further insult to injury, they're going to pay the white people that they flew in from South Africa more money than they had been paying the white workers. But due to the courage of about 6 of these black farm workers having the courage to speak out and find the right people to speak to, the cause was taken up by the Mississippi Center for Justice and quickly got the Department of Labor involved. And these guys are paying now. So, you know, and once again, who have you heard outrage from on that? Have you heard any from the governor or the lieutenant governor or the Speaker of the House? I have not. If you have, we'd sure like you to let us know so we can go back and look at exactly what they had to say. But anyway, I don't know how much profit these white farm owners make each year, but God knows that's going to cut into some of it. And, a lashing towards them by the U.S. Department of Labor. How often would we be just so devastated here in Mississippi if it wasn't for the federal government getting a look at things that are going on? Department of Justice, Department of Labor, FBI, civil rights investigations, Environmental Protection Agency with the whole water and sewer situation here in Jackson after being denied funding for decades by the state of Mississippi. By now, I think most people maybe heard the story about the firing of the Rankin County deputies accused of brutally. The mom says that accused. It's not enough to just fire them, and of course the information is sketchy. It appears that some of them were allowed to resign or did resign, and then whoever was left over out of those 6 deputies was fired. This, according to Rankin County Sheriff Brian Bailey, announced Tuesday. These 6 deputies tortured Michael Jenkins and Eddie Parker. Bailey did not name the deputies or specify how many were let go, but did say remedial measures have been put in place, such as hiring of a compliance officer and review of the department's policies and training. The FBI has opened up a civil rights investigation. Attorney Malik Shabazz is on the case. A $400 million civil lawsuit has been filed. This is not new stuff in Rankin County. And we're just going to keep an eye on it and keep letting you know about it. Lots more information to come on that. More racism. This guy, Doug Evans, he's a district attorney, the white Mississippi district attorney, has resigned effective today after more than 30 years on the job, during which he prosecuted a black man, that's Curtis Flowers, prosecuted him 6 times in the shooting deaths of 4 people and excluded black people from juries on a routine basis in a practice that led the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn the man's conviction and death sentence. And this guy's last day, he left today. Still has 6 months left on his term, but he resigned effective today. District Attorney Doug Evans. Some good news, a trucker in North Mississippi has been named the 2023 Truck Driver of the Year by the Mississippi Trucking Association. According to WTVA, a black man named Theodore Carruthers of Okolona received the award on Thursdays. Top truck driver in the state. This man has driven over 2 million miles in Mississippi without a DOT report against him. Over 2 million miles. And he'll get to compete later this year for a national truck driving award. So congratulations, Mr. Theodore Carruthers. Way to go. As we scoot on down to Jackson for the last few minutes, a special council meeting yesterday, the Jackson City Council approved a stipulated order placing its sewer system under the control of the interim third-party manager, Ted Hennepin, already responsible by court order for restoring the water system in Jackson. So this is was actually suggested, I believe, by District Court Judge Henry Wingate, and thought that maybe he would have the resources and the wherewithal to take care of both the water and the sewer system. The council went ahead and approved it yesterday in a 6-1 vote. By this WLBT report, Ward 3 Councilman Kenneth Stokes was the lone holdout. There was a lot of talk in executive session. The measure must now be signed off by Judge Wingate before it becomes official and before more details are made public about this sewer system. Also, some new amended charges for former Hinds County Sheriff Marshawn Chrysler. You know, there was charges that came out in April. He immediately said, pleaded not guilty. He said he did not do this stuff. And now there's been an amended complaint saying that they have evidence that he promised to protect a felon from arrest if he was caught with a gun. The new indictment alleges he agreed to shield the unnamed felon from arrest and prosecution if he end up getting caught with a gun. So it just hurts your heart to see that. Of course, we don't want to believe that that's true, although we do know with the feds, they typically get things locked down awfully tight before they bring charges. The court date has been pushed back. The local court date has been pushed back to September. So we'll see about the if this changes things at all, because he's still planning to run for office as sheriff, and the general election being in November. So court date in September unless things change. Very sad to see that. Got a list. We'll just wind up today with a list of locations where cooling areas have been. And that's today from noon to 7. Well, I think it started yesterday from noon to 7 until further notice. And here's the locations: the Champion Community Center, 1355 Hattiesburg Street. The New Jerusalem Church, 1285 Raymond Road. Smith Robertson Community Center, 505 John Hart Street. TL Love Community Center, 2912 Holmes Avenue. Tougaloo Community Center, 318 Vine Street. Westside Community Center, 1450 Wiggins Road. So if you're in a real predicament and don't have what you need, to be able to experience some cool air on this under the sweltering heat, there's your locations. I got that list from WLBT. I saw a very similar list on WJTV website, so you can check that out. Go to those places. I'm sure it's going to be more than just cooling and some cold water too. I bet you there'd be some food there also. And lastly, fireworks and into 4th of July weekend. So anyway, Saturday night downtown at nightfall, going to be Jackson fireworks. And I see comments coming in. Mr. Williams, good to see you as always. Yeah, city passing the buck. That's what a lot of people are saying and wondering why people don't trust them. But, we're going to see, aren't we, on these? We're going to see here within the next couple years, we're going to see where people stand with regard to these council members. I don't think they're going to forget this thing with the trash contract. I don't, but who knows? I saw Hinds County just renewed the contract with Waste Management for the county. So, I don't know. It's hard to tell. But thanks for watching. We're so glad to have you with us, and hope everybody has a good 4th of July weekend. Take good care of yourselves. Take good care of your health and the people around you as best you can. See if you can't do a little something for your community. All it takes is a little bit. Use your gifts. Do a little something. It'll make a difference. And we'll see you back here Wednesday at 12 noon. Take care.